I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad.
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining us today. We're super excited here at High Country Outdoors to bring you an awesome product review. This is something I've been really excited about getting. We're going to do a little bit of unboxing, show you the product, give you my first impressions. We're going to set it up and do some demonstration with it, take a look at it, and then we're going to be using this on an expedition, a winter camping expedition next weekend. So pretty excited about this product. Right now we have the FireHiking Titanium stove. They just sent me this stove. I actually ordered it, paid for it full price. I had reached out to the company about 2-3 months ago to see if they would be interested in sending me one for a review, since there isn't much on the internet about this company and this particular titanium stove. This is obviously a titanium hot tent stove for winter camping, fall camping, or anytime you really need a stove, wood stove, for camping. So the company declined my offer to do a review. They just said I didn't have enough followers. So hey, you guys got to help me out. Hit that like and subscribe button so we can get some more followers and get great content reviews like this up on the channel. So without further ado, first things first, this is exactly how I received this stove in the mail. It was exactly like this. They literally slapped the shipping label right over the top of it. It wasn't secured. It was wide open. I have opened it since when I got it, but just interestingly enough, yeah, I was kind of concerned that there might be missing parts or somebody could have literally ganked this thing because it was wide open, as you can see here. So let's take a look at what we've got. This is, like I said, I've already opened this up and played with it a little bit. I took some of the protective wrapping off, some of the styrofoam stuff out of there just to get it out of the way. It comes with a really nice bag, protective bag. So you can check this out here. Has the nice FireHiking logo on there. It's a pretty heavy duty bag. It feels like it's a little bit padded. Let's take a look on the inside here. And let's see what we got. Yeah, actually it is really nice. It's got some padding sewn into the fabric here. It looks like a nice Cordura, probably 1000D Cordura would be my guess. So nice little carrying bag. I don't know that I'll use it, but it's pretty nice. And the stitching looks fairly durable. So first impression of that is pretty nice. All right, the stove itself, pretty nice little package it comes in here. You can see all of the box. You've got all of the accessories here. We've got our stove dampener, our pipe, the stove cap, some gloves, and then the stove itself. So let's get this dude out, and hopefully you can see what we're looking at here. Really excited to try this guy out. We're going to get this thing set up and get a burn in, and we're also going to weigh it. FireHiking says it comes in right at about 4 pounds with everything included. This is the size of the package that it comes in, and again, this is their titanium ultralight hiking stove. Alright, so there's that. We've got our stovepipe and our stove cap. Stovepipe comes with the rings, obviously, and we'll go set that up here in just a moment. And then lastly, it comes with some cut-proof gloves. Let's get this guy out of the way, and let's get this stuff back in here so we can take a look at it. All right, pretty exciting stuff here. So it's got a nice FireHiking logo there on the front. Let's take a look at this stove cap. Now, one of the things that I really think is important for any of the viewers to know with this stove cap, if you look at buying this stove on Amazon, which is where I got it, you'll notice that there are a fair amount of negative reviews about the stove cap itself. The stove itself has pretty good overall reviews, but a lot of people say that the stove cap itself doesn't work well, and that it will creosote up the pipe and it doesn't vent well. Well, if you'll take a look closely, hopefully you can see, it's got these little tabs on here. And I'll show you on this angle as well. These little tabs right here, they actually need to be pushed in. And what I mean by that is literally you just take your finger and you push those in. Make sure you rotate each one in a little bit, and I'll give you an up-close view so you can see what I've got going on here. But those need to be pushed in for this cap to work appropriately and work as it's designed to work. Otherwise, yeah, you are going to get a buildup. So hopefully you guys can see that on that angle. Show you on this angle as well. You can see that I've now opened up those caps, and on the inside it's got like a nice little spiral design. That will allow it to breathe much better. Now, one of the little hacks that you can do with this is you can get one of those keyring, whatever they're called, the little key rings that you can slip your keys on, and you can kind of like slot one of those through these little grooves right here. So you could put one of those little key rings here. Let's see if I have one on my bench. I don't think I do, but I'll show you that mod. You could put one on, kind of space them out so that there's 3 of them on here, and that way you could guy out your stovepipe if you're in a really windy or gusty situation where you're going to want to guide this thing out to keep your stovepipe from wobbling in the wind. Really simple hack, but one of the things you need to make sure you do if you do get this tent is obviously just push these tabs in. Now, the one thing that it does prevent once you've done that is that you can no longer slide this over the end of the pipe. Now, given that it's titanium, I bet that you could probably just reach in here and bend these tabs back out so that this will slide over the pipe, and it'll make it a little bit more compact for traveling and when you're not using the stove. But I think, like with any metal, the more you do that over time, it's probably going to break those tabs off. So I'm going to just leave it like this for now. It slides in about 1 inch. It just doesn't go all the way. And I doubt that I'm probably ever going to get this pipe back to that small anyway, so I'm not really worried about it. All right, let's get to the stove. The stove itself has got these nice little Velcro straps on here. And like I said, I've already pulled this apart, kind of messed with it a little bit, just to see what it will look like. And overall, I'm going to tell you I'm very impressed with this stove. So here's the stove top. Looks very handy. Now, one of the things that was kind of a turnoff for me, so the original version of the stove, I've been looking at buying the stove for about a year now, was that the original version had these little tabs on the damper that would correlate with these cutouts that were on the top of the lid right here, and that would slip in and you would turn it and it would lock it in place so that your stove dampener was locked in place. The one thing that I really don't like about this stove now, with the newest update, is that it's got these little screws right here. Hopefully you can see them. They're just a thumb screw, and there's a little tiny riveted nut basically on the back side of that, which it screws into, and then just slips over like that, and then you screw them on there. Now, why don't I like that? Because these things are tiny and you can lose them, and when you're cold you lose your finger dexterity, right? And so I don't know how many of you guys have tried zipping up your coat when your fingers are cold. It's really hard, right? So one of the reasons that I wanted the original version and was really impressed with the original version is because there was no little loose parts like this for you to have to manipulate when your fingers are cold. So I don't know, we'll see how this is going to work out. I mean, it's a great design because I think it definitely will lock that stove dampener on there more securely, but I'm worried that you might lose these, and if it's really cold it's going to be hard to screw those in. Thankfully there's only 3 and it's not the end of the world. It is what it is. So there's the top, pretty nice. One thing worth mentioning now, so the entire stove has this design where they've included these support, I don't want to really call them beams, but they kind of are, that are tack welded onto the titanium. And I thought this was a really interesting feature because the sides have it and I think the bottom has it as well. And obviously FireHiking has done this to try to prevent warping of the lids and sides during heat. And I think it's an interesting concept. I don't know how well it's going to work because there's still a fair amount of flex in there, and I'm concerned that it probably just adds too much weight overall to the entire stove, which I think could be avoided. But it's an interesting feature. I'll give them props. I think that they definitely are one of the only companies that I've seen that's doing that. So there's the lid. Take out some more foam here, and then we've got the top, the regular stove body, and this is really a nice piece of stove equipment. So these little guys fold out here. You've got the front on this end and the back on this end. Got some more foam in there to protect the glass, and as you can see, it's got these little latches right here that will hold in the side pieces. So let's pull this guy out. We've got our side piece right here, which again has really nice riveting. It's got some nice screws that hold the glass in. It's got these little tabs that kind of like slide lock in there. And the nice thing about this is that you can put the glass on either side of this stove, depending on your configuration in your tent, so that you got some ambience from the light from the fire in there as well, which is super nice. Another reason and feature that I bought this stove was because I don't plan on backpacking with this necessarily. I'll use it on like hiking expeditions in the winter when I'm using my polk sled, or if I'm like truck camping or something along those lines. This is not an ultralight stove. This glass is pretty heavy. I think you could probably contact FireHiking and you could get another, just a plain side, and that would reduce the weight pretty significantly. We'll do an overall weight here in just a moment. So let's slide this on here. Pretty easy. It just slides right down into this groove, and there's a groove inside that holds it, and there's grooves on the side actually that hold it as well. I apologize, I'm trying not to get in your view here. So it kind of slides in from the top and then locks in place, just like that. And then the back does the exact same thing. Back, and again, it's got those nice tack welded supports across there to keep it from warping. Does a pretty good job overall. I think it definitely will keep this shape, the stove for holding its shape during a fire. So let's get that installed really quick. Slides down there just like that, and then of course the top pops on. Interesting thing, you can use the stove, you can move it at the front or the back, either one, doesn't really matter. Get these little guys out of the way here, and then simple enough, you just slide this little tab up. Well, you can see here, slide the little tab around, do the same thing on this side. Slide the tab. One of the things I'm probably going to end up doing is tightening this one. It's just a little bit loose. And there it is. That's the stove body. Now we'll latch the front here. Stove obviously has a nice little latch. I like that it's got a hole in the latch here, again, so that you can put another like key ring on there with a little piece of metal or something, so that this is going to get hot during a fire. And so it just gives you something to flip it up well so you don't burn yourself. And then obviously it's got nice ventilation here on front. Again, a nice little screw that slides open, functions well, and the stove is really pretty. All right, so the last part of it is the bottom. Here's what you can see on the bottom. Again, on the bottom it has these nice little ridges right here that are tack welded on to give the bottom that extra support to keep it from warping. And then the feet just flip up just like this. And now we've got our stove. So the last little thing here, interestingly enough, is that it's sitting pretty level now. The first time that I set it up, it wasn't sitting very level. It was a little wobbly. The feet are probably the weakest part of the whole stove, in my opinion, but they work. And this is actually a really nice looking stove. All right, so let's break it all down. And let's see really quickly what our overall weight is with everything that's included right here. Actually, I bet this will fit. I don't think we need to break it down. Let's just fold our legs up. I bet this will fit on top of my scale, just like that. Let's turn this guy on, and hopefully you guys can see it. All right, so let's see what the stove body weighs all by itself. Stove body alone weighs 4 pounds 2 ounces, so just over 4 pounds. Let's add these guys on there. and see what our overall weight will be. All right, total weight of the stove body, stovepipe, rings, cap, and the damper is 4 pounds 15 ounces. Actually it's 4 pounds 15.9 ounces, so let's call it 4 pounds 16 ounces. That's 5 pounds. Not too bad. I was hoping that it was a little less, but like I said, I think if you really wanted to go ultralight, I bet you could contact FireHiking. They would give you another side that doesn't have any glass. You could buy one, and you probably cut at least probably 6 to 8 ounces, I bet, at least with that glass. Actually, let's do this really quick. We'll find out exactly how much difference there is between the two sides. Quick enough. The nice thing is, I mean, honestly, that did not take long at all to put it together. All right, so side with glass weighs in at 14.6 ounces. Side with no glass weighs 8 ounces. So exactly what, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 6 ounces. So you save 6 ounces if you want to get another side panel without the glass. For me, again, like I said, it's not really going to matter because I don't plan on backpacking with this stove particularly. My buddy Jake has the light outdoor stove, and we hunt a lot together, and he's let me borrow that stove in the past. I think it weighs like 2.5 pounds or something. I actually have it sitting over here. And that's a great stove for backpacking. It takes up a lot more space in your backpack, but it's also quite a bit lighter. It's also a heck of a lot more difficult to set up, especially when you're hand-pulled. So that's it. That's the stove. Let's go do a burn-in. Let's get this thing back up. We're going to do a burn-in. We're going to roll up that stovepipe. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm probably going to put it on fast speed so you don't have to watch me painfully rolling up that stovepipe. There's a lot of videos on how to do that on the internet. So yeah, let's go get it burnt in, and then hopefully next weekend we'll get to use this on a backpacking trip. Thanks for tuning in. Again, this is High Country Dan. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for me, please. And keep an eye out for more content. We got another product review coming up next episode, and you're not going to want to miss that one either. It's a great product. So thanks for tuning in. Let's go get this set up.
Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious. I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad.
Alright guys, hopefully you can see me here. We finally got the FireHiking Titanium stove set up. I'm not gonna lie, the pipe was a pain in the butt, but got it all set up for the most part, no crinkles, so I'm gonna cheat. I brought a torch and some fire starters. It is a brisk -15 this morning at the moment, so we're gonna get this thing going as quickly as we possibly can. Got some wood scraps going in here, and then we'll hopefully get this guy going very soon. Yep, maybe. All right, those are going, and let's just keep feeding some little pieces in here. Again, so far, very pleased with the stove. Most people that have used a roll-up stovepipe know that it is and can be quite the pain in the butt to get set up. And it was, as you saw in the video, it's going to be fast forwarded quite a bit, but otherwise it took a little bit of coaxing to get it on there. Otherwise, still very pleased with it though. Get the dampener opened up. Make sure those are all flattened up. And for the next couple of hours, we're gonna feed some wood into this guy. Hopefully get it burning nice and hot. Got lots of scraps here from some woodworking projects to feed in there. And as soon as we get it going real good, I will take you guys around the stove so you can see the glass and the ambience coming from the side. Beautiful day. Like I said, it's a little chilly out here in Montana today. Seems to be taking off nicely. These little guys in here. There we go. Load one more piece in there. Kind of overloaded at the moment, but that's all right. You want to get this thing fairly hot fairly quickly, because unfortunately I don't have all day to burn it in. And yeah, want to get a good fire going for you guys in this thing. Super excited to do some cooking on this guy. Top is already getting warm there. Ah, yeah, very nice. Got that closed. I'm gonna leave that thing right open. And there we go. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Do it no cap. Only got one, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad. I got cash in the bag, stadium packed. Put a rock star on the side, live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Do it no cap. Only got one, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad. All right, well, thanks for watching this review video, guys. Just to wrap up some final thoughts with the FireHiking Titanium stove. The last couple of clips you saw there were actually my winter expedition that I took shortly after I did my burn-in, the weekend after. And overall impressions, I'm very pleased with this stove. A couple of notes and things that I think that are important to note. The stove itself, I think on the FireHiking website says that it weighs right around 6.5 pounds. I'm guessing that's probably with this included carrying case would be my guess. But overall, I'm really pleased with this stove. If I had to do it all over again, I would still buy this stove. I do like it very much. The weight is not an issue for me. Like I said, I think you could get it down probably right around 4 pounds. Or at least 4.5 pounds if you wanted to try to get rid of the glass and get another side. But overall, still very happy with the stove. Two things of note: the spark arrestor or the cap for the stovepipe. So interestingly enough, this did creosote up and block up on me as well. Now, the difference being, and the reason why it did that, was the very first night of my trip, I cut some wet firewood, or I don't want to say wet, but it was greener firewood. By the time I got camp set up and had an opportunity to actually get a fire going, I didn't have a lot of time to be real picky with my wood that I cut, and some of the trees that I cut down were a little bit green still. They weren't completely like dead standing trees. And so by morning, this thing was sooted up so bad that it actually wouldn't even work at all. So I had to take it down, clean it out, cleaned out the pipe, and the next night I burned much drier wood, and I had no problems with it at all. In fact, it worked flawlessly, just like I expected. So something to keep in mind is make sure that you do have some really dry wood. If you have any green wood at all that creates that black soot, doesn't burn as hot, there's a good chance that this thing's going to soot up on you. You can see in there maybe a little bit of soot still, but most of it cleaned out that next night. The pipe itself is still in good shape. Got a couple of little wrinkles and dents here and there, but that's to be expected with this kind of stuff. That happens. Nothing too major. The damper worked just fine. I did, although, almost lose one of the little tiny screws. I dropped it in the snow, and I'm really thankful that I was able to find it because I was in like 5 feet of snow. The stove itself, show you it really quick. Got some beautiful color change to it. That's what titanium does. One of the things I think that's also kind of important to notice was when I showed you the beginning of the video, the supports that are tack welded in here to kind of keep it from warping. Yeah, that didn't really work. It's still warped, and not majorly, but that's what titanium does when it gets hot. I mean, all metal does. So I think it was a good idea, especially along the top where you're going to be cooking. I use this stove. I think one thing that's probably important to notice, it's not a very big stove. And so the first night using the green wood, which burned a lot slower, I could probably restoke the fire every 3.5 hours. The second night that I used it, and I used a lot drier wood, it was like every 2 hours tops that I had to restoke the fire. So it's not very big. You're not going to be able to put a lot of wood in this thing. I was in the temperatures of probably the 20s to low teen or to upper teens, maybe a little bit lower than that sometimes. But otherwise, it kept me warm. I was in my hot tent, and that video is going to be coming up right after this one. Hopefully I'll get that edited and get it all together for you. That'll be our winter expedition video. But otherwise, the FireHiking stove really impressed me. I really like it. It's a great alternative. If you can catch it at the right time, you can get the price down. I think I paid around $350 for this stove. Usually it's like $399. Otherwise, it's a great stove. And in terms of lightweight, I mean, 4 pounds, 15, 16 ounces, basically 5 pounds, is not too bad in the grand scheme of things, especially if it's not something that you're backpacking with on a really long trip. Otherwise, If you haven't done so, please hit that like and subscribe button. Join my content, join my channel, so we can have more content like this for you coming up. I've got another review coming up, sneak peek. Gonna grab it. It's gonna be these guys right here, and you're not gonna want to miss that. Great product that we're gonna talk about next on High Country Outdoors. This is Dan signing out. Thanks for watching.